This is Indeed Talk, the home of common sense, with me, Julia Hartley-Brewer. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. Let's talk right now about e-scooters, the bane of many of our lives. E-scooter collisions have trebled in the last 3 years, according to new research. It's prompting calls for an urgent change in the law. A total of 29 people have died since 2022 to 2023 in a huge number of collisions, 4,500 e-scooter collisions, including 4,800 injuries. 1,400 of those are serious. Bearing in mind, I've seen plenty of people who've had e-scooter collisions and they have not reported them. So that is just the tip of the iceberg. The president of the AA, the motoring group, Edmund King, says these figures show a worrying trend, needs to be nipped in the bud by legislation and better police enforcement. And safety campaigners, including the family of the first pedestrian killed in an e-scooter collision, want legal safeguards on their use and want police to enforce the rules, banning them from pavements. That would be a good start, wouldn't it? Let's talk about this with Ollie Chadwick, who joins us once again. He's MD at Nought Technology. They manufacture as well as retail e-scooters. Very good morning to you, Ollie.
Morning, Julia.
Thank you very much, Steve, for joining us. Look, you know, you sell a legal product, people have got a right to use it. I mean, although, you know, they're not supposed to be ridden on the pavement at all. Presumably, you would welcome enforcement of the law.
Absolutely, yes. It's what's needed. The UK has fallen well behind our counterparts in Europe and the wider world. We do need regulation. Much of Europe have been able to do it with varying degree of stringency. So, yes, the government needs to do it. There was some positive progress made with the former Transport Secretary, and we're hoping that continues with the new one.
What sort of things have other countries in Europe done that we've yet to do?
So Germany is a good example to look at. So Germany's implemented a speed requirement. So it's limited to 12.5 miles an hour. But critically, for a lot of people, they have mandatory insurance. So the scooter has to have third-party liability insurance. You can extend that to have fully comprehensive. So if you do, you know, run into somebody or their vehicle or whatever, you are covered.
Yeah.
It's relatively inexpensive, you know, 30 euros up to 80 euros. And critically, they have to have the model and make of the scooter to know that it's compatible. So the manufacturer, like us, need to produce a product that is certified to their regulation.
And does it also have to have the licence plate? That's a crucial thing for me. Cyclists and e-scooters just need to have a licence plate so you can clearly identify it. And the same as with a car. You know, there's a speeding, a speeding camera showing you your car is speeding. Well, if you're not willing to identify someone else who was driving the car at the time, you take the responsibility, end of. We need to have an ability to formally identify the owner of that scooter, do we not?
Yes, and that's what it does. It's got a little license plate on the back. Other things, they've got to have reflectors, lights, bell. You know, it's not an unknown what the government need to do. It's
pretty basic, isn't it?
Proven.
I mean, frankly, a lot of those rules, again, I'd like them on bicycles as well, whether they're e-bikes or not, but there's a particular issue with the e-scooters, with people riding them routinely on the pavement. And I see a lot of young lads, you know, the hoodie lads doing it round my way. But I also see a lot of, you know, middle-aged people who, frankly, should know an awful lot better. Plus how people leave them on the pavement. It's just literally like, oh, just get off now at the corner, I'll just leave it here in the middle of the pavement. You know, forget someone who's disabled or pushing a buggy or, you know, blind. Yeah, don't worry about them. How do we tackle that?
So I think it's worth noting that the dumping and abandonment is only the case with rental scooters. Now, privately owned scooters, which what the Transport Secretary previous said they want to bring in, that wouldn't be the case there.
Yeah.
You know, that's with the rental companies. They can put bigger fines on the user if they want. They've got their driving licenses. They've got their card details.
Yeah.
You know, we'll according to the terms and conditions. Barcelona, for example, now have brought in fines for riding on a pavement of 500 euros.
Yes.
Sounds like quite a lot.
Sounds like a very good deterrent to me.
Well, exactly. It shouldn't be an issue. You know, if you know that makes people think otherwise about it, then it's working. So all of this is achievable, can be done. You know, I would credit the previous Transport Secretary who did make positive strides in our industry. And
you're talking about you're talking about the Tory one as opposed to Labour.
Well, no. So the previous. We have so many of these. The previous Labour one.
Try to keep up. I'll name that Transport Secretary in three.
Heidi Alexander is now now the Transport Secretary. But yes, you know, it needs to continue, and you know, like we've said, it can be done, has been done, and we just need to adapt and do that.
Why has it not been done? Listen, we've had all these trials on the rental ones, and again, you know, technically speaking, you know, the only ones that are allowed to be ridden on the roads at the current time. You know, but we know this is widespread. I mean, it seems to me that our entire pavement and road network has been given up to largely young lads who want to get around quickly in their hoodies, you know, wearing black day and night, on their phones, with their headphones on. They're a danger to themselves and others. Frankly, if one of these kids gets knocked off and kills himself, well, that's on them as far as I'm concerned. I'm not, you know, that's their choice. But they are a danger to other people. Why has there been such a delay in dealing with this? We've got this new mode of transport, and yet we're going to wait like 5-10 years to bring in laws around enforcing the safety of these things.
It unfortunately seems to be typical of the government that we have, you know, previous and at the minute. But, you know, the transport that they bring has been exponential in growth. It's become very quick. COVID saw a real boost in them. Trials were brought in with the idea that they would bring data to then legalise them. Now they keep extending the trials, you know, which is fine. But it does need to be a point where they bring legalisation in for these scooters. People's habits have changed. You know, certainly younger people. Not only drive is expensive, the cost of a vehicle is expensive. They see this as a cheap, affordable way of transport and a good way to get about. You know, a lot of younger people probably don't know the risk or you know, involved with that. So better education is required. And certainly mandatory helmet usage.
Yeah, I mean, that I can't see. They don't even bring that in for bicycles, do they? And often they're going really fast as well. Ollie Chadwick, I think we're on the same page there. MD at Nought Technology. They manufacture and retail e-scooters. Thank you very much indeed.